Hi guys, welcome to Scorched Earth Tarot. This is going to be a general reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. If you find that the message doesn't resonate, have a look at the videos for your Moon and Ascendant signs, because sometimes we can resonate with those a little more than with our Sun sign. If you don't know what your Moon or Ascendant signs are, have a look in the description box below. There's a link down there that will help you. What's going on there? If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I really appreciate the support. I've been thoroughly humbled with how the channel is growing. I can't even begin to tell you. It's wonderful. And I'm meeting some incredible people off the back of it as well. So, like, you know who you are, people. It's awesome. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I hope you find something here for you. And if you haven't already subscribed, please think about it, because that would be awesome. Now then, what else to tell you? Thank you for your messages and your comments and your donations. Oh my god, I think humbled again all over, and those who've reached out for personal bookings. I love and appreciate every last one of you, and I'm looking more forward to working with you. I'm sorry these readings are late, but I've been so ill over the last 10 days, and 4 of my 5 children have also taken turns to be incredibly ill. I'm on the mend, thankfully, but it's taken a little while, and it played merry hell with my upload schedule, so I'm here now anyway, and hopefully the mid-months will come out on time. So thank you for your patience, it is much appreciated. So that's quite enough waffling from me. I have 3 cards for Scorpio, please, for the month of December. Ooh. Hello, Scorpio. It's Death. That is your card in the Major Arcana. That's a pretty strong entrance. I'm impressed. 2 more cards for Scorpio, please. 2 more cards for Scorpio. I'm not going to take that one because it got stuck on my finger. 2 cards for Scorpio. Well, 2 swords, that's air energy. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. It talks about having to make a choice. I have 1 more card for... One more card for Scorpio, please, for December. That's the one. Oh, we've got the Hierophant. It's a card of Taurus in the Major Arcana. Talks about structure and tradition and things like that. On the bottom of the deck, we have got the Ace of Pentacles, which is a solid new start in some manner or other. Can be a new job, can be a new house, it can be relocating, it can be doing all sorts of things. In a relationship sense, it would be making an offer or receiving an offer from someone to start something new, but with a firm base in reality, I guess. So I'm using the Shadowscapes deck to clarify this because it's absolutely exquisite and I don't use it enough. I'll show you as I pull the cards, but it's quite phenomenal. So, why is Death here? Oh, okay. Well, the 2 cards that splurged out of there were the 9 of Swords and the Queen of Cups. 9 of Swords is air energy again. Queen of Cups is Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, so that could be you or it could be someone that you're dealing with, male or female, doesn't matter. Right, where's the 2 of Swords here for Scorpio, please? Where's the 2 of Swords here for Scorpio for December? We've got the 2 of Wands, that's another 2. You're at a bit of a crossroads here, Scorpio, I think. Anyway, it's fire energy. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius. There's the 2 of Swords here, please. Scorpio. Oh, we've got 2 cards. It's kept happening for Aquarius as well. We've got the 9 of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. Pentacles is earth energy. Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. And the Ace of Cups is water, like you. Again. I like to see aces in readings. That's very nice. So, why is the Hierophant here for Scorpio for December? Got the Ace of Swords. Wow, that's 2 aces. And one more. Why is the Hierophant here for Scorpio? That's the one. What do we have here? Temperance. It's the card of Sagittarius. It's number 14 in the Major Arcana. It comes straight after Death, actually. It talks about healing and balance and things. On the bottom of the deck, we've got the Hermit. So, having a bit of a think. Are we there, Scorpio? It's deep introspection, the Hermit. Anyhow, I'll have some hot juice. Right. The first card that we got is Death. I love this depiction of death. Death is actually probably my favourite card in the tarot because of what it indicates, as well as being your card. And, you know, energetically speaking, the sign of Scorpio rules sex and death, right? All very cool. But more than that, it's creation and destruction, you know, and that's what Scorpio is known for. It's the only sign in the zodiac that has a dual depiction. Okay, so obviously for Leo, like me, it's a lion, you know, that kind of thing. Cancer's got the crab and stuff like that. Centaur for Sagittarius. But for Scorpio, you've got a scorpion and an eagle, and the eagle is the higher representation of the Scorpio sign, you know, and it's a nod to the fact that Scorpio, as a sign, is able to reinvent itself over and over again, because, you know, energy cannot be destroyed or created. It merely changes form, and that's what death is all about. It's about massive transformation from one state to another. And it makes sense because, you know, death is about as major a transformation as it's possible to go through. But that energy goes somewhere. But it seems you're on the brink of another transformation, Scorpio. And I say that because your second card is the Two of Swords. It's like you're in two minds about whether to jump into this. And I'm going to tell you now, if this is resonating with you already, it's in your best interest to do so. And I say that because the Two of Swords is a card of choice, right? Broadly. I'll get more specific in a second. But if it was a choice that was harder to make, I would expect to see the Lovers there. Because the Lovers is not like, oh, you know, twin flame. I never read it that way. I see it as very a clear choice to go in one direction or another. It's a different life path. This is a much lower echo of that. It's almost like, I'm getting ahead of myself, but there are two major arcana with a minor choice in the middle. Okay, that's what I'm going to say there. So something is on the horizon for you. Something is requiring you to undergo a transformation. And this is what you do. This shouldn't be too hard for you. Or maybe it is. I don't know. Because the next card that you've got, the one to clarify death, is the Nine of Swords. And that this is a painful card. It's always a painful card because it speaks of overthinking, insomnia, depression, grief quite often, anxiety of any description, going over things again and again and again. We're talking about the sort of situations that keep you awake at night, Scorpio, the things that stop you sleeping, or the things that wake you up while you are sleeping, and then you just stare at the ceiling for 3 hours until daylight occurs and you're released from that prison. But it's very cerebral. you know, it's anguished in the same way that almost that the Three of Swords represents anguish, but they come from different places. This is mental anguish, and that's how it means depression and stuff like that. You know, the Three of Swords is about the anguish that is felt almost physically inside here. This is all up in your head, which is not to say that it's not real, because that's not what I'm saying at all. It's to say that potentially the things that you're worried about don't have as much of a basis in reality as they might do. Or it's just a rite of passage. It's just something that you've got to go through. You know, the Hermit card talks about, you know, that deep introspection, and maybe you've been doing some deep introspection and you haven't liked what you've seen and you're thinking about changing it. That's possible. Or it could be also that you're in this period of contemplation because you've been carrying these swords around with you. You know, the standard depiction in the Rider-Waite shows a woman sat up in bed, you know, sobbing, with the swords stacked above her, horizontally, interestingly, you know, up there. But this card is very different, and I just love this card, actually. There's like some sort of spiral vortex going up in the sky, and there are crows up there, yeah, following the vortex. And this person here with wings is kind of quite an angelic representation. But all of the swords are tattooed on the chest of this, you know, winged person. I'm going to show you that, see if you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not, because I can't actually see what you can see, but I hope that the camera's picking that up. For me, that it means you've been carrying around a lot with you. You know, this is not the sort of stuff that, this is not the, you know, sobbing into your hands, insomnia kind of depiction of the Nine of Swords. This is somebody going around in their life carrying this wounding with them. It's literally marked on their skin. And I think that you're having a hard time with that, because I think possibly it's been a defense for you over the years. It's something for you to hide behind, you know, with your grief or your depression or whatever. You know, it's been a wall between you and the outside world. And almost something that you've, I wouldn't say worn with pride, but I mean, these are tattooed on his skin and he's making no effort to cover them, you know. And that's why I think it's been a protective mechanism, actually. Almost to hide behind, but almost to kind of attack the world with. You know, it's been the way you've approached life while you've had these swords tattooed on you. There's been a big wall. But this swirling vortex is going up, and then he's looking up. I think he's sick. I think that you're sick of living that way. And now you're looking to transform. Now you're looking to transform. Because the second card that we've got to clarify death is the Queen of Cups. Now, I'll get the obvious stuff out of the way. This could be a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, you know, man or woman, doesn't matter. This could be somebody in your life who is demonstrating the energies of the Queen of Cups. So it's receptive, obviously, because it's a queen, and it's water of water, because she's, you know, all the queens are watery. So, but she's pure love. Like she moves forwards in pure love. That's what she does. You know, everything about her is driven by love, and it couldn't be further from what I just described, actually. Now I think about it, it's the polar opposite. You know, this is trapped in your head and overthinking and deliberately putting a boundary between you and the outside world, you know, so much so that you would mark it on your chest. And this is going, actually, I just want to be happy. I just want to be loved. I just want to love. I am prepared to do all of these things. So this could be a person, but I feel it's an energy. I feel like it's quite strongly an energy, actually, now I'm looking at it. And what I quite like about this Queen of Cups here is that in most depictions she's shown as sat on the shore and just kind of just away from the water, usually staring at some nasty ass cup, actually, but this one is different. This woman is walking over really deep water. This is really, really deep emotion, and Scorpio, of all of the signs in the zodiac, you're the ones who feel things so deeply that you don't let most of it out most of the time. But this woman is stepping easily on the backs of these turtles that are here helping, you know, and she's able to traverse this deep water without dropping into it and drowning. You know, it's a very easy process right here. I think this is what you're looking to try and transform yourself into, because this is an exhausting energy. This is tiring. And is this all that life has for you? That's I feel for that. I feel like you've got to the point where you're like, I can't do this anymore. There's got to be more to life, and what is more is this, you know, right here. So the next card you got is the Two of Swords. Now, like I said, this talks about a choice. A choice. And I always feel slightly needled by this depiction of the choice, because I don't know if you can see, but she's blindfolded. She has two swords in her hands, and the moon's up in the sky there, and the water's at her back there. Now, water is emotion in the tarot. That's what it signifies. So for me, the fact that she's got her back to the water and she's got her back to the moon, which is her subconscious as well, means already that she's ignoring her intuition. She's ignoring, you know, how she feels about things. She's ignoring, you know, the voice from her subconscious. She's shutting all of that down to rely on her hands, essentially, her hands and her arms, you know, because these two swords represent two trains of thought, two possible outcomes, you know. It's swords, so it's cerebral, it's intellectual. And she stood there with them over her heart like this, and she's trying to make a decision about one or the other of them. But the fact is, they weigh the same, they're identical, you know, they don't feel any different. Both options appear to have equal validity, but they don't, because she's blindfolded, and because, you know, it almost seems like a slightly... She knows what decision she needs to make, the woman on this card here, but she's deliberately choosing not to make it. It's an active refusal to choose, is how I interpret this card. And she's doing it at the expense of, you know, listening to her emotional responses to things, paying attention to what her subconscious is telling her, and paying attention to just how she feels about it. It's active inaction. It's near good. First card that you got to clarify that, and that one come out by itself, it did, is the Two of Wands, and that's fire energy. So we're talking Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, and it's just so exquisite. I love this deck so much. But the Two of Wands talks about a crossroads, right? That's the decision to go one way. This is talking about a crossroads. It's picking a path, right? Because the Wands suit is all about movement and living in the moment and doing all those kind of things. But when you get the Ace, you know, it's a spark of creativity, a passion, something like that. It's a new relationship potentially, you know, anything that makes your blood run hot. That's what's governed by the Ace of Wands. So when we come to the two, this is the internal process, right? How do I move forwards with this Ace of Wands? How do I bring this Ace of Wands into reality? Because it's quite a sparky energy, you know, it's there and it's around, but you can't necessarily put your hands on it. You could be talking about chemistry that you have with someone else, right? But twos being internal, it means, right, where do I go? How do I channel this? How do I make this happen? You know? And because it's a 2, we're talking about potentially a crossroads. Do I go this way or do I go that way? You know, how do I affect this? Maybe even how do I make this decision? Possibly. Except that that's dim, because the decision's actually already made in your head. You're just procrastinating on it. Oh, it's so beautiful. But it's the planning. How do we move forwards? Yeah, how do we do this? How do I make this happen? And then these 2 cards dropped out together. And this is the 9 of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. The 9 of Pentacles is a card of independence. You know, it's earth energy. So Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But it talks of someone who is not just independent, but happily independent. It's kind of a card of doing things alone, right? Being happy about it generally is the thing. And a lot of work and effort has gone into this created singlehood, independence, you know, all that kind of thing. And you can see that because this woman's playing a piano, but there's a tree literally growing up through the middle of the piano, right? She's been sat there for a while, right? That's what's implied by that. And maybe this is you, Scorpio. Maybe what you're stuck about is the fact that you've met someone that you would like to extend an offer to, possibly, but you're kind of going backwards and forwards to it on it in your head. And you just don't know, the thing that you're flip-flopping about is whether you're ready to give up this level of independence that you have and bring someone else into your existence, because you've done it so long by yourself, you don't really know how to proceed. Or maybe this is the person that you're approaching, because we've got the Ace of Cups here, you know, and this is an offer of love, actually. You know, it's new love or a renewal of love for someone, something, yourself, potentially. That's a thing as well. I'm coming up with the 9 of Pentacles. That's a thing, you know. Maybe you have to learn to love yourself a little bit better than you do before you can go out and make an offer to someone else. You know, take it as it resonates to you. Or maybe this is the person that you're wanting to approach, and this person has been on their own for a long time and is established and is pretty fucking happy where they are. And you're trying to work out how on earth you're supposed to approach them because they are happy where they're at. But from the Ace, like, everything is possible. You know, it's the seed of the deck. You plant a tiny, tiny little seed and you can get a massive tree out of the middle of it. You know, it's an opportunity, it's potential, but in its Ace form, it is simply that. It cannot grow like that until you take it and you plant it and you do something with it. You know, just sat on its own, it quite likely will just shrivel up and die. And you know, you might be able to, a while later, put it into some soil and water it, and it will grow. But until you take that opportunity, till you take that cup, till you take that Ace and move forwards with it, it is literally something quite ethereal, right? Final card that you've got is the Hierophant. Now, the Hierophant talks about structure and tradition and hierarchy. So it can mean schools and universities and business, you know, so it can mean work and stuff like that. But it's an acolyte card, usually. It's usually depicted with 2 people there, and it's any institution where you have, or you know, setup of any description where you have someone at the top who is disseminating information to, you know, lower orders, who in turn will then, you know, disseminate that down through their lower orders and stuff like that. That's possible. But it talks about taking a prescribed path. And maybe this is what you're bucking against, actually, Scorpio. because it's taking a prescribed path and committing to it, right? It's doing things in the right order, in the way that the majority of people will do, because that's the only way that you get the knowledge, you know, is working your way through the ranks. So it's commitment. And we've got an Ace of Cups here, we've got a Queen of Cups here, you know, we've got indecision by you, what way to go forward. It's offering commitment. Or committing yourself to something, because this Hierophant is depicted alone again, and we've got, you know, the Nine of Pentacles, which is alone, doing something by yourself. But this guy, I notice that he's separated from his harp and from his horn and from his cup by, you know, what appears to be a stream. He is isolated. Yeah. I don't think that you want to be isolated anymore. I think that this is what the root of everything is here for you. I think that you've worn your swords on your chest for quite long enough, and you've hit a tipping point and you've realised that you don't want to be so isolated. I'm actually feeling really emotional, kind of welling up. You don't want to feel so isolated anymore. You want your peace, you want your cup, you want your ability to communicate with people, because you just sat there, like, looking out, separated from those tools that would allow you to find your peace and allow you to communicate with other people. You're completely separated from it, and you're separated by emotions. This is stuff that you need to bridge, and it's internal to you. And there is a level of commitment that you will need to undertake in order to be able to bridge that. Now, the two cards that you've got to clarify are the Ace of Swords and Temperance. Right, so we've got another ace, we've got another opportunity, more potential being given to you. But because it's the sword suit, we're talking about clarity of communication, we're talking about honesty, we're talking about integrity, we're talking about, like, how you interact intellectually with the rest of the world. And that is, you know, through the use of your voice and stuff like that as well. You know, it's the... totally forgotten the word I was going after there. The expression of your mental processes to other people, or the expression of your truth to other people, the expression of sorry, there are butterflies all over this. Butterflies are absolute signs of transformation as well. You know, it's enlightenment, and this can be for you. This can be you having an epiphany that actually you want to take yourself out of isolation now, or it can be coming forwards to somebody else and expressing the truth as you have been experiencing it to another ear, right? But I giggled when I saw the butterflies, because, you know, caterpillars, they're cool. You know, they're an animal all of their own. And butterflies, they're an animal all of their own. But the process to get from a caterpillar to a butterfly is dissolving in the most disgusting goo that you could possibly imagine. You know, they wrap themselves up and they literally dissolve before rebuilding themselves into an entirely different creature. This is what you want to do. And you're going to do it with truth. You have to go forwards to with truth, either to yourself or to someone else. And I feel like it's probably someone else, but it could be just to yourself, because like I said, Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. This could be about how you feel about yourself. But the truth is the important thing, and sometimes that's painful to face, particularly if it's an internal truth, you know, an internal bias inside us that we have been, you know, predicating our entire existence on up until this point, having to confront that and go, well, actually, you know, my idea about the world is wrong. I need to change my frame of reference. I need to change all of these things. You know, it rips a hole in your fabric of reality, because everything gets tipped up then. Everything needs to be looked at in a different light. But then we've got temperance. You know, as well as being the card of Sagittarius and the card that follows directly after death in the major arcana, it talks about healing. And specifically for me, it talks about healing off the back of really adverse, challenging situations, right? Because it reduces to a 5, 14, 1 plus 5, 1 plus 4 is 5. So 5 is conflict and uncomfortable change and shifting things, right? So temperance then is about releasing the stuff. It's about conquering all of that adverse, you know, situations and challenges and all that kind of thing, and healing, releasing all of that stress, all of that thing, all of that 9 of Swords energy that you've been carrying around with yourself for however long. It might have been probably your entire life, I mean, possibly for some people. You know, there's no shame in wanting to be happy. There's nothing frivolous about allowing yourself to be happy. Defining yourself by pain and by depression and by, you know, the awful circumstances that you've existed in, it is wasting your existence. And I think that you are coming to that point. I think you're coming to that realization for yourself now, because here is a want to heal. Here is a want to commit to the path of healing, you know, be it with another person or by yourself. It's right here and it's in front of you. And this woman's holding a ball, and there's the most beautiful dragon is just coiling off out of it. We've got more coily imagery going up, you know, and I feel like this is you releasing a lot of things and finally permitting yourself to feel happiness and not feel diminished by it, actually, is what I'm hearing. Diminished. And I get that. I've been there. And I'm not there anymore. And I have to say, it's 100% one of the best things I ever did. So, there you go. I'm going to pull some advice cards for you, Scorpio, because this is kind of deep. And if nothing else, I want to get you out of this flip-floppy energy here, because it's unnecessary. Right. We've got strength. That's the card of Leo in the major arcana. It's number 8. But, you know, this could be a Leo that you know. That's possible. But if it's not, it talks about strength of character, right? It talks about taking the lessons of the appalling circumstances that we find ourselves trudging through in life and not allowing it to oppress you and repress you. You know, it's picking yourself up by the scruff of the neck and going, I want something different. It's a soft power as well. It's not about wrestling animals. You know, unusually for the strength card, there's water depicted on here because this is fire energy, obviously, but this is emotions. This is being able to traverse within your emotions. Splash around in them, feel them, but not be sunk by them, I think. And the other thing that Leos are very good at is, Leo is associated with the inner child, right? And I just got through talking in Aquarius's reading about, because the sun came up in that, talking about the fact that if you find an adult who is in touch with their inner child, 100% they have had the shittiest life that you could possibly imagine, because we are brought up to repress all notions of that within ourselves as we become older, you know, and we stick it in our bag, you know, that bag that they talk about in shadow work, because childish things, fun and innocence and things like that, are things that should be left in childhood. They're not to be brought through into adulthood. So for someone to get in touch with that, it means that they've processed all of the dark things that have happened to them, and they have discovered their inner child again, and they're paying attention to that inner child. Somebody who's just had a normal life, who doesn't, you know, hasn't really ever had anything awful happen to them, will never be pushed to the point where they need to go and find that inner child and reconnect with it. So that's something for you there, Scorpio, definitely. I have another card of advice for Scorpio, please. One more card of advice for Scorpio. No, apparently that's all the advice that you need. Oh, although at the bottom of the deck we now have the Sun. Right, that's 2 Leo cards there, and I've just got through talking about inner child and getting in touch with it, stuff like that. You know, like, this is what you need to do, 100%. And I understand that it's hard. I get it. I can feel, you know, I've just been welling up in this reading, and that is not something that I generally do, but I felt the emotion, and it was deep and it was heavy. And wouldn't it be nice to not feel like that? Wouldn't it be nice to find your inner child? Wouldn't it be nice to transform? You have the capacity to do that. You are literally the sign that is in charge of that massive transformation. And whatever this indecision is that you're flip-flopping around here, you know, I feel like if there's any indecision at all, it's coming, that doubt is coming from a place of fear. Fear of defining yourself differently to, you know, to the way that you've done it for your entire life. A fear of feeling frivolous by seeking happiness, and it's not. It's a very serious endeavour, I can assure you. No, you've got one life, Scorpio. Don't trap yourself. I to be honest, I think that you're ready. I think that you're ready to transform, because you're here. You've hit that tipping point. You want to heal. You want to release all of this stuff. You want to be able to tread lightly over your own emotions, you know, instead of staying so separated from everybody else in the world off the back of it. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, Scorpio, because I'm actually kind of feeling slightly emotionally wiped out by this reading. I have to go and have a cup of juice or something. But as ever, if you've made it to the end of this reading, you know, I love and appreciate you, and know that I understand what you're going through here right now, because I do. If you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did. And other than that, I will see you for the mid-monthlies in just over a week or so. Take care, Scorpio.